Hello, everyone. My name is Eve, and you're watching Don't Forget the Dessert. Today, you're in for a treat as we are joined by two amazing pastry chefs with a wealth of knowledge and competitive techniques. My first guest is Keyshawn Winston. Yes, a man that knows how to create tasty and healthy treats for all. While attending high school, his home economics teacher discovered that he had not only an interest in cooking, but also for the kitchen at the young age of 18. An intriguing fact about our guest, Chef Keyshawn never attended culinary school and instead started his journey in the culinary industry at the age of 18 as a self-taught chef. I cannot wait for you to meet him. Talk about amazing and impressive. Without further delay, meet the man that lives by the motto, everybody gotta eat. Welcome, Chef Keyshawn, to the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, so let's get started. Talk about your journey.
Wow. I started, I took the liking for food back in high school. Just so happened my home economics teacher happened to be also my homeroom teacher. So whenever I would not, be disciplined, I would always go back to my homeroom teacher. But I got to taste food because she would be preparing food for the next class that might be coming in. So I was there and I got to help her set up and do stuff like that. And I just took a liking just being in that atmosphere. And it was like, I think one day I got to create something of my own, and I just was hooked ever since then. So, yeah, that started it.
Oh, wow. What makes baking easy and what makes it hard? So let's talk about what makes it easy first.
I think the easy part, I know for me, is when you know the ingredients and you know how much ingredients go into your dish. Everything is calculated, so you can't miss a step. You can't,
right.
Not put in a pinch of this. It is what it is with baking. What makes it hard? Not eating the dessert before you pass it out to other people to let them try it. So I think that's the hard part.
Okay. What are some of your favorite flavors that you like to use when you're making your desserts?
I love fresh vanilla bean.
Okay, yes, that's really good.
I love a lot of fresh ingredients. I use a lot of, I know me personally, I use a lot of lemon zest, a lot of orange zest, depending on what the dessert is. I just love the oils that it extracts when you're using it. So yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, awesome. Do you make a lot of cakes or anything like that?
I don't.
Or?
I do more so a lot of muffins.
Okay, because I know
like
you're
that.
a chef, so
Yeah. I do a lot of muffins and like little pastry items. My kids love those, so I try to stick within the little forms of cakes.
Okay.
And I haven't explored so much into the huge cake thing yet.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
okay.
I'm getting there. I would love to tackle it if I could. So I'm intrigued of everything that it gives. When you're baking on huge products. So yeah.
Nice. Has there been like a particular dessert that you just could not make?
I'm still trying to master cheesecake.
Oh,
Cheesecake.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get some cheesecake, it's amazing, and then you can get some cheesecake, it just feels like it's flat. I don't know, like somebody let the air out. But cheesecake, I'm working on it. And once I get it, I think I'll be good. I really think I'll be good after that. If I get cheesecake, I'll start making cakes. So
Okay.
yeah.
I want to talk about I want to kind of go back and talk about your journey because you just didn't get here overnight.
Right.
What did you have to go through to become who you are today?
Well, years ago, what really brung me into the kitchen in a whole years ago, I had found myself homeless for 2 years.
Okay.
And I was without a job, no place to stay. And one particular day, something prompted me to go to the library and to start a resume. And in the course of me trying to build a resume, I kept seeing these flashes of these restaurants keep popping up for line cooks and dishwashers, and I never did that type of work, you know. But I was like, man, it must be a sign or something. Let me see what I can do. And it was just on a whim, you know. I didn't know that particular day that I was going to get a call after sending that resume out through via email that somebody was going to call me. I was nervous.
Yeah.
And the guy had told me if I could make it to the interview that day, he would love to see what I could do. And I went in and I just started learning. I just started learning on the fly because I knew nothing. I knew nothing what they were talking about, none of the lingo. And I would just repeat. I was like a sponge. But I love the atmosphere. I love, you know, the atmosphere. And one thing led to another. And he asked me if I liked it. I said, I love it. One, I love the atmosphere that I was in. And then two, I knew I would never have to go without eating again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was it for me.
Wow, that's amazing. That really is. Have you ever made like a dessert that was like sentimental to someone?
I did. My grandmother, before she had went into the hospital, this one particular year, she taught me how to make sweet potato pie, which was grated sweet potato pie.
I love sweet potato pie.
And I just watched her as she would grade raw sweet potato in her pies instead of just having your basic sweet potato pie. And she didn't know that I remembered how to make it. And she was in the hospital when she just kept talking about she wanted sweet potato pie, and I knew how to make this sweet potato pie like she showed me how to make it. And I surprised her, even though the doctor said she couldn't have sweets and stuff like that. And she didn't partake in the pie just to see that I knew what I was doing. She could just tell that it was made the way that she would make it.
Right,
you know what I mean? And she was really happy. She was really happy. She gave me the biggest hug. So, yeah.
That was so sweet. What dessert have you been most proud of?
My pineapple upside down cake. Yeah, I learned that from my grandmother too.
Okay.
I think that's my favorite, one of my ultimate favorite desserts. And I think as a kid, you know, we used to always fight over the bowl. We used to always fight over the beaters. And while my siblings fought over that, I wanted the pineapple. Just give me the pineapples. Because my grandmother never used canned anything. Everything was fresh. So she would get the fresh pineapples and she would cut them up like that. And that has been my favorite ever since I was a little kid. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So your grandmother, she played a major role in...
My grandmother raised me. So I got to see firsthand how food should be done.
Yes.
And
grandmas knows how to cook.
Right. And
know.
And it was amazing because my grandmother never, it was like a pinch of this and a pinch of that, and it just made it work. I don't know how she did it. Nothing was ever measured.
Right.
There was no measuring cups in her house.
Right, exactly.
So you know what I mean? So,
exactly.
Yeah, I learned from the best.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel to experience other desserts?
I would definitely would love to go to China.
Oh, okay. What's in China that?
China, their desserts are, it's like, man, they're not huge, you know, desserts that they make. They're a lot of puff pastries and stuff like that, but they're so detailed.
Okay.
And how they prepare, not only they prepare, but just the presentation alone just makes you want to eat, makes you want to come through the screen. And I'm a huge, you know, watcher of their food in the culinary world that they venture in.
Okay.
And I just get in tune, and I'm just amazed, and I would love to go there just to try that food.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. One last thing, quickly, if someone was interested in doing what you do, give me one tip or two tips that will help them to get started.
Number one, you follow your dream.
Okay.
You follow your passion.
Okay.
If you feel in your heart there's something that you want to do, I think you should go after it. I think that not doing that, it doesn't give you. It's like you've missed your purpose. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it is a gift, then I think we should use our gifts. I think we put on this earth to use the gifts that we're given. And I think the one thing I would tell them not to do is to listen to other people telling you that you can't follow your dream. That is not the thing to do.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that you should be able to separate the two.
Absolutely.
And do what makes you happy.
Absolutely. Audience, grab your pens, paper, and cell phones. Chef Winston will share a few of his recipes. You don't want to miss this. Welcome back. Let's jump right in. Take it away, Chef Winston.
So first, what we have here was we have our blueberry muffins here, and just to mimic what was already done here, the first thing we want to do, we want to get our all-purpose flour, like my grandmother does, like she's always done. She's never measured anything, and I try not to,
So
just to mimic her. Yeah.
How much that is? A
This-
couple of cups or?
Yeah, this is about I'll say about a quarter cup. You can do a cup and a half,
Okay.
depending on the pan. So right here we have a muffin pan where we're trying to fill, at least we can do, I'll say about 6 of them. So
Okay.
I'll say about 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
Okay. So is it something else in there? Or just all-purpose flour? That's it.
Yeah, that's all-purpose
Okay.
all-purpose flour. So
All right.
they have so many different kinds. I try to get the one that doesn't really lump up.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So we want to always mix our dry first. So then take pretty much like a teaspoon, I would say a teaspoon of baking powder. You add that to that.
Okay.
You want to add in your room temperature, I would say room temperature butter. You don't want it
Absolutely.
cold.
Definitely.
It takes forever to try to beat it.
Uh-huh.
So room temperature, you add your butter in. And this is probably about, I say about half of a cup
Half of a
butter.
cup, okay.
Yeah. So then you have that in. And then you want to add like about a half a cup of sugar.
Half
also.
a cup of sugar.
Yeah. Like that. So this is your dry.
Okay.
So you want to mix real good. Let's get that spoon out of there.
And so while you're putting this all together, can
Mm-hmm.
you tell the audience what you're getting ready to create?
So I'm getting ready to duplicate these blueberry muffins. The reason you want to separate your dry from your wet, you want your dry to be able to combine evenly. So once all that is mixed really, really good, it makes it a whole lot easier to add in your next ingredients, your wet ingredients and stuff like that, because it's like almost like mixing oil with vinegar. If you try to mix
Right.
everything all at one time, it never settles right. Yeah. It's,
Right. So you just don't want to just dump
Right.
everything in
Right.
at one time. You got to
Right.
put it in slowly.
Right. And it's okay to have, you'll see like the little lumps and stuff like that. That's
Okay.
fine. The butter is like perfect where you want it to be.
Okay.
And our next step after this gets incorporated really, really good, the next step you want to take in my secret ingredient, which
Okay.
is my grandmother's secret ingredient, is Greek yogurt.
Okay.
A lot of people use sour cream, but it's something about Greek yogurt that makes your muffins so fluffy and so like just soft in the inside. It's like it's a beautiful thing. So we take your Greek yogurt. So now we add in our wet.
Okay.
Right.
So how much, around about how much Greek yogurt
I would
are you
say
gonna use?
honestly, this is a half a cup. Already measured. So I usually on a big batch, depending on the batch that you're making. If you're making a couple muffins and you're just making them for yourself,
Okay.
you do as your heart desire. You can,
Okay.
you know what I mean. So you just add in your Greek yogurt.
Is there a certain flavor of Greek yogurt, or is
So
it just
what we have
plain?
here, you can use plain. A lot of people use plain because you have some folks that have allergens with fruit and stuff
Okay.
like that. But I brung a blueberry Greek yogurt.
Okay.
So since we have blueberry muffins, I'm like,
okay.
we just gonna tie it all together. We really gonna tie it together. So
Okay.
then I added in my yogurt, and then I have 2 cups of milk.
Okay.
You can use 2%, whole milk, skim
Okay.
milk. It's really your preference.
Okay.
So then we have our milk that goes in. And then you want to
And how many cups of milk?
It's 2 cups.
Okay,
2 cups of milk.
okay.
Right. And then you want to use I want to say like 2-3 teaspoons of either vegetable oil or canola oil.
Okay.
Whatever your preference may be. So that's probably about 2 teaspoons right there.
It smells good.
Already, right?
Already.
So you want to mix, you're mixing in your wet. So the reason we don't add in the blueberries right now is because we want everything to be incorporated. We don't want to mash them.
Okay.
We want the batter to really be able to be settled and
Okay.
dense, so when they fall in. And then a key, I'll show you a key to this too.
Okay.
So a lot of times when you make blueberry muffins, a lot of people might not know.
Okay.
You want to flour your blueberries before you even put them into the batter.
Oh,
So
that's
this stops your
interesting.
blueberries from dropping to the
Oh,
bottom. So
okay.
as you see, there's blueberries sitting on the top.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Okay.
you can put a little bit of flour in your blueberries
Okay.
and shake it around a little bit. Just get them incorporated. Yeah. Incorporate them like that. Now before we put in our blueberries into our batter, we want to get our eggs.
Okay.
And you don't even have to beat them. They can just go right in.
So
just
how many
like that.
eggs are you using?
2 eggs today.
Are they cold or room temperature?
Room temperature eggs.
Okay.
Because everything else is already at room temperature, so you don't
Right.
want to change the temperature like that.
Okay.
So now that the eggs are being beat in, and if you prefer not to use the yolk, you don't have to. You
Okay.
can do egg white. There's so many different ways you can do this. So now that this is incorporated, and you see how silky it's getting.
It is very
Yeah,
silky.
No. And what happens, the oil helps it too.
Okay.
It kind of helps break down a lot of the ingredients that you put in that might be, a little too harsh than the rest of the ingredients. Like the yogurt's always going to be soft and moist, but when you go to put the flour in by itself, flour tends to lump up.
Right.
So that oil kind of helps it break it down.
So what is your favorite dessert? Is this your favorite dessert to make, or?
No, this is my kids' favorite dessert. They love
Okay.
blueberry muffins. My
So
oldest
do
daughter,
you guys
she's
make it together?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
Like all the time. This
All
is
right.
like, oh man, we can't keep blueberries in the house. They love making blueberry muffins.
Yeah, I'm a blueberry and a strawberry fan.
Oh,
Do you make strawberry?
I can. I've never really made them. I've done like some orange muffins, some morning glories.
Okay.
Some bran muffins. Bran muffins take a lot. There's a
Okay.
lot of ingredients with bran muffins. And I've tried some poppy seeds. Yeah. So they're
that's
pretty. It's
interesting.
pretty good.
Okay.
So now that our blueberries have been incorporated in some of this flour, we
Flour.
can put them into our batter. Now the key to mixing your blueberries in your flour, you never want to use the mixer that I just used. You want to use like a soft spatula.
Okay.
Reason being, you don't want your blueberries to be crushed up.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes, depending on how you want your blueberry muffins to be, sometimes you can open up a blueberry and it has like that marble look. A lot of people crush up their blueberries because that's the way they want to do it.
Okay.
Let's see. So now, remove this, and we're gonna get. Here we go. So you're just flipping.
Okay.
You're flipping the batter instead of mixing and mixing. Just flipping it in, going around the side of the bowl, making sure all the blueberries are covered up. And you can put as many blueberries as you want. If you want to get crazy with it, it don't matter. You
Okay.
can do it.
And so the temperature in your home or where you create your desserts, does it have to be cold, or does it matter?
It really doesn't matter. I think you just want to be comfortable wherever you are. I think
Okay.
the food will, I think the number one thing is making sure that your butter is at room temperature, because like I said before, it's hard to break down. It's the hardest ingredient that you have. And of course you're going to see anything that has a liquid texture to it, flour lumps up, but it helps when your butter is at a room temperature, so it's easy for it to break down. So the flour is not really lumping up too much. You just see like little curds of flour, but it's okay because it's going to dissolve when everything gets to mixing in. It's going to dissolve anyway. So
Okay.
yeah. So you're good
So
with that.
when somebody bites into your blueberry muffin, what reaction will they have?
Somebody's grandma made these muffins. Somebody's grandma made these muffins. I get that all the time. Like, who mama made these muffins? So, and I try to incorporate love with all my food. But
Okay.
there's something about these blueberry muffins. I think because my kids have taken such a liking to them.
Okay.
They've been like my number one go-to.
Okay.
Okay. So I just try to stick with those.
All
That's
right.
it.
Thank you for sharing your tips and techniques, Chef Winston. Your muffins will be placed in plastic containers I brought from home. Audience, stay tuned. We have Lynette Jeffries joining us in the studio. When I tell you that her desserts are so yummy, it literally makes you want to faint. Woo! We'll be right back.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back. I'm excited that you stayed, and for the newcomers, glad to have you join us for the second half of Don't Forget the Dessert. As promised, our version of Gifted Hands is here, and I appreciate her for taking the trip from Baltimore to hang out with me today. You know, before we dive into the desserts, we definitely want to learn about our guests. Lynette Jeffries has been baking for over 20 years, and she believes that a fabulous dessert should not only look good, but it should bring you back again and again and again. Yes, I agree with that. Lynette has consistently created that memorable experience of enjoying that last bite of a moist and delicious dessert. So when you combine great tasting treats with a personal exchange, you've hit your mark. Our guest has been featured on Great Day Washington, where provided dessert suggestions for Mother's Day, along with sharing her talents with Be More's lifestyle team. Welcome, Lynette. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, so let's get started. Can you kind of tell us about how you got started in this industry?
I started baking as a little girl with my aunt. Every summer we would go to North Carolina and would just be in the kitchen hanging out with her baking. And then later in life as an adult, I used to bake for friends and, you know, family. And then I said, you know what, I think I can turn this into a business. So in 2006, I did just that. I turned it into a business. I've been baking ever since.
Awesome. Tell me about some of your favorite desserts that you like to.
Desserts, I will eat dessert before I eat regular food. I'm just a dessert person all the way around. So some of my favorites are sweet potato pie, banana pudding, which is what I'll be featuring today, our naked nana pudding, and of course your classic pound cake. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay. So what is your most proudest dessert that you've ever made, or?
I would have to say the naked nana pudding, because it's a hit. No matter where I go, no matter what event or what, you know, for an individual, they say, I want that banana pudding, it's always the same response. People, they lose their minds over that banana pudding. So I would say I have perfected it. So that has to be my favorite and most proud dessert.
Okay. And so when you were on Great Day Washington, what was that experience like for you?
That was a great experience. Actually, I met one of the hosts, Kristen, at I think it was at a event. And she came in, I had no idea who she was. She came in and she purchased the banana pudding. And at that moment, she invited me to come on the show and be a guest. So it was a proud moment. I was really excited to have that opportunity happen. And it was a great, great day for us.
Can you tell us more about the show?
Well, I know they feature a lot of high-end celebrities on the show. So that, again, like I said, I wasn't really familiar at the time of the show. And then they also do feature local businesses in the DC area as well. And for me, you know, I came from Baltimore. So they will bring you on the show and just kind of let you have an opportunity in that platform to speak about your business.
Okay, awesome. So what desserts did you?
That day I did I want to say it was a strawberry shortcake trifle is what I did that day. Is what I prepared for the team. So
what are some of your most favorite flavors that you use with your
vanilla? Gotta be pure vanilla extract. I remember a time I went to Texas to visit a friend, and she wanted me to bake something for her. I can't remember exactly what it was. A cake. And I'm like, do you have all of the ingredients? She's like, yeah, girl, I have everything. And I went in her cabinet and she had imitation vanilla. I almost lost it. I was like, you have got to have the pure vanilla, because those ingredients, you know, it makes a difference in how that dessert is going to turn out.
Absolutely.
You want that quality,
You want
that
the
quality flavor.
Yeah, so it can taste great.
Yes.
Absolutely. So where do you kind of see yourself going in the next like 3 or 4 years? Because I mean, you've already done Great Day Washington and Be More's Lifestyle. What else do you see?
You know,
Because you got to go up
yes,
from here.
go up from here. My goal really is, and I enjoy doing that. So, I had really looked to see where I could do more TV.
Okay.
Do more hands-on demos. I recently just did a demo with a summer camp group, and so also that's my way of giving back to the community. I do that once a year. This was my second year.
Okay.
Going in and showing the kids how to do. We did a dessert pizza.
Oh, nice.
So I always try to give the kids healthier dessert options.
Okay.
And so that was nice. So I want to be more maybe in the classroom, going out, showing individuals how to create these fabulous desserts. It doesn't have to be difficult to do that.
Okay.
So I'm claiming it. I'm thinking TV, like Rachel Ray, those type of things. I am working on a cookbook, a dessert cookbook.
Nice.
So that's the avenue that I want to follow.
Okay, nice. And I know that you said community. I know Chef Keyshawn, who was on the last show, he actually said that he was going to be heading out doing some community service and cooking for, I believe, a homeless shelter or something like that. So that's good to see, you know, those who are in the baking business go out and, you know, in the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what, let's see, what, if someone was wanted to do what you do, what advice would you give them?
I would definitely say you got to put that fear on the back shelf, because fear is what will hold you back. It will make you second guess. You'll question a lot of different things. So definitely you got to erase that fear, and then planning. The proper planning, because I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've had some setbacks because when I first started in 2006, I thought, I want to, you know, let's do this. I was ready to open up a brick and mortar, which I did. I left my job at the NBA, and people thought I was crazy, but you know, you just have that rush of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, but you have to plan properly. It's not about just having the resources. You got to plan properly.
Absolutely, because it's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Do you ever recall a time where you made a dessert for someone and it just really just put a smile on their face or made their day or just changed their, you know, their whole mood?
Absolutely. And it's funny, I get emails, inboxes all the time, text messages. Girl, this was fabulous. Oh my goodness, you know, you hit my, and so that makes me happy. And that's why I said this is why I do what I do, because I want each customer or client to have a fabulous dessert experience. That's what it's about to me. It's not about everything has to look so glimmy and, you know, just all the little icing on the cake, literally, but I want them to enjoy that dessert. That's what it's about for me.
Absolutely. Do you see yourself traveling like internationally? Because, you know, it's so many different desserts in so many different countries. You know, they're known for their dessert. Is there a particular country that?
No particular country, but I have this conversation all the time with some of my other entrepreneur friends, and I said, I want to travel. I want to be able to be in different kitchens, bring it to everybody's forefront and to the home, and let them see what we do. You know, so I definitely put that on my bucket list to travel.
Absolutely. Can you tell us what is easy about baking and what is hard about baking?
I don't know. The easy part is I want to say I could do it in my sleep. You know, a lot of people say, you know, how do you do it? And I say it comes natural to me, I want to say. So just baking in itself is easy. The hard part about it is just, for me, is you got to time management. Because even this week for me, it was super crazy busy, but that's where planning comes in. And you have to structure some time management so that you make sure you stay on task and that you have a great outcome for whatever it is that you're doing. Because it wasn't just about baking. I was teaching today. I did some pop-ups today. So you just have to structure your day, and that time management is essential, and it can be tough sometimes. So sometimes you have to tell people no. I had a couple people, can you bake this? It was last minute. I said, sorry. You know, you have to tell them no.
Absolutely. Time management is everything with baking. So when you hear those words, don't forget the dessert, what does it make you, what comes to mind?
You better not show up without some good dessert. That's what I think about when I say don't forget the dessert. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I would like to thank Lynette Jeffries for coming by, and she's going to be right back with a demonstration for us. Welcome back, and I'm so excited that Lynette Jeffrey has bought a special treat for us that she's going to show us how to make. Take us away.
Today we're going to focus on making our banana pudding. This is a no-bake classic recipe. So first what we're going to do, we're going to start with our custard, which is just simply using a basic vanilla pudding mix. And then you want to incorporate a cup of milk and then a half cup of heavy cream with that. And you're going to mix it really well till it blends all together.
And you said no bake?
No bake.
So what do you mean by no bake?
When I was growing up, my aunt, again, my favorite was banana pudding, and she would make her custard from scratch on the stove using egg yolk, her condensed sweet milk, sugar, vanilla extract. So this is just a quicker version, doing it, and so it's no baking, no cooking, because after that she would then put it in the oven and let it cook, and then she'd use egg whites on top with sugar combination, and let that bake, and that was the old way of doing banana pudding. So today we're not doing any of that. We're just going to keep it classic, and we're going to keep it simple today. So what you want to do is we'll start out with your baking dish, or if you have a dessert pan, and you're just going to start with putting your custard on the bottom, just a little bit, and you're kind of going to smooth that out, because what we're going to do next is we're going to place our wafers. So when you do this, we're just layering. It's just all about layering those different flavors of your dessert.
And so what did you say was in that custard again? What did you use?
In the custard is very simple. So you can get your packaged vanilla pudding mix. And you're going to mix it with a cup of milk. A half cup of heavy cream. And then you're going to use your like your whipping cream. So you can buy the brand that comes in the container, and you're only going to use half of that. And you just want to incorporate really well, blend it till you have this type of consistency with your custard. So again, we layered that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few of our wafers, and you just kind of just lay it down in the bottom of your baking dish. And again, it's just going to be real simple.
Is there a certain amount of number of wafers you use?
I don't. Some people, depends. I think it could be personal preference. It's the bottom. You don't have to have it all covered. I kind of just like to spread it, because then we're going to put our banana on top. So you want to use, for this recipe, maybe about 4 to 5 bananas. And
now, do your bananas, are they soft or hard, or?
I like them, if this makes sense, medium. I don't not
in between,
too in
not
between,
too hard and not too soft.
Exactly, not too firm, because you want you know, when they're more bitter. So you don't want that taste, and then you definitely don't want them to be too ripe, because then they'll be too soft. And I generally use the more ripe bananas for, like, if I'm doing a banana bread. And so I'm just slicing these, and it's going to be that same consistency, that same pattern, and just let it kind of they can fall where they may. Typically, sometimes some people, I'm sure we're going to be eating this right away. But some people, they will even slice the bananas and let them squeeze lemon juice on them to keep them from turning brown. Just depends.
That's a good tip.
Yes.
So you use lemon juice to keep them from turning.
Keep them from turning brown. So again, we're just going to, it's about the layering of your custard.
Now, the custard that you're using, is it really cold, or is it warm, room temperature?
It's going to be cold. Because pretty much, your milk should be cold, your heavy cream should be cold. So it's going to be cold, and even after you're done, unless you're planning on consuming it immediately, you want to keep it refrigerated.
Spreading it out there.
So we're just doing some
Looks
layers.
good, smells good.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure it's going to taste good.
I'm going to save that for last. I'm going to do another banana.
So you're going to do another banana.
Because we're going to top it with which I call my sweet glaze, which a lot of people, you know, they'll use whipped topping for the top, but I make my own little concoction, which that consists of, the sweet glaze consists of your whipping cream and your heavy cream. And you're just going to mix that.
And you blend that up.
Blend it up really good, give it a nice consistency, and kind of keep it simple. We're making another banana today.
Are there any other, like, I guess, fruits that you have tried to use in?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you said that, because I actually have done a strawberry banana pudding. So
that sounds good.
It is delicious. You're just incorporating bananas and strawberries, and you're doing that same process. And that definitely gives a twist to your classic banana pudding. So see, that's that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add this last little bit that we have, and then I'm going to put our cookies on top, and then we're going to have our sweet glaze.
So is there any other other than wafer cookies, can you use something else?
You know, the new craze is a lot of people using Chessman cookies, right? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having that.
So tell us about Chessman cookies, because I've never even heard of them.
It's another form. It's not your regular typical vanilla wafer cookie. But it's another, I want to say it's your high-end brand of cookie. And so a lot of people, especially people a little bit younger, they're like, that's the new thing. That's the new banana pudding.
That's the new banana pudding.
So
this the old banana
pudding. This
is
the old school banana pudding. So I've seen that, and I'm like, I'm kind of partial, because I'm old school. I like to stick with tradition a little bit, but there's nothing wrong with trying something new. And a lot of people say it tastes great. So it just depends on what your personal preference is. Okay, so now we are ready for our sweet glaze. And we're just going to spread that on top of our cookies.
Now, is that about a cup, or what?
This is probably a little less than, because this is really only like a 4-ounce jar.
4-ounce jar.
But you probably, it depends on how big your custard is going to be. I don't know if we're going to have enough for this whole thing for this particular, but that is our finished product here. So that is what you want your
so this is
your
what
actual, that's your finished product right there. But this is how you would create your banana pudding, your no-bake banana pudding.
And so this is, you don't put it in the oven. You do not. You put it in the refrigerator.
In the refrigerator.
And how long do you keep it in the refrigerator?
It probably depends on who's going to consume it. It might only last a day, but it is good in the refrigerator. I would say up to 4 days in the refrigerator. Because as you know, bananas, they do start to turn. So this is our finished product. We also do this in a jar.
So it can be done in a jar.
And in a jar, it'll last even longer than the 4 days. Yes.
So
there you have it.
All right, it looks good. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for more, and remember, don't forget the dessert. I saw you over there like,
I'm losing my mind.
I tried to tighten it, Crystal. I tried my best.
So we will do that. I will have to cut in. Oh, you think so? I'll be right back.
I'm sorry. I think okay.
Yeah, you put that.